amps take over. Don't hit the Jeep, don't hit the Jeep, don't hit the Jeep. Here, I'm gonna take over, let him over. Today, we are going to be torture testing the Tesla full self-driving package. And you may be asking at this point, how exactly are we gonna torture test it? Well, I'm gonna make it drive all the way through downtown Atlanta, which, if you don't know, by the way, Atlanta, Georgia is one of the worst places in the US to drive, period. So I'm gonna throw FSD into the middle of that hot mess, and I'm gonna see what it does, because science, yeah. So first off, we're over here in Atlantic Station Target, and I'm gonna make it go to Greenwood Avenue, which is my favorite place to park and hit the belt line. So let's go ahead and get rolling. All right, so we put it in a drive, and now that the system is on standby, all we have to do once we get out of this parking deck is engage full self-driving. Let's see. All right, we're gonna go ahead and turn on full self-driving. Let's see what it does. So if you've watched this channel before, you'll probably realize that I'm not in my usual car, which is a black 2018 Tesla Model 3 long range. And there's a very good reason for that. This is a Model Y I have on loan from Tesla. I've had it over the past couple days. My car is in the shop for some super minor warranty repairs, which I actually bought my car used from Tesla directly, and it comes with a 10,000 mile, 1 year used warranty, which if you don't know, buying from Tesla is a really good deal. Specifically, it's a leak over the trunk in the rear window glass and a creaky door strap in the driver's door. Pretty minor fixes, but you know, I took it in just for them to go ahead and take a look at. So today we are in a red 2020 to 2021-ish Model Y with the full self-driving package and unlimited supercharging, because that's nice. It has also got the acceleration boost, which has been a ton of fun. So I've been in the Model Y for a couple days, and it's been really solid. I'm still more of a Model 3, Model S guy. I'm not a huge fan of bigger cars and SUVs. I daily drove a Ford Transit Connect for about a year. Got that whole feel of the big car experience. It's clunky, it's not fun to drive in cities, so. You can see it just handled that turn pretty flawlessly there. One thing I've been kind of watching with bated breath is the curbs that have been really big, like the one we just went around. It hasn't hit a single curb in the past couple days I've been running full self-driving. I've been pretty impressed. All right, now let's see how this handles a roundabout, which my enhanced autopilot package does not do a very good job at. It's pretty good. It's going around it, it's obeying the rules of the road. I mean, I'm impressed. Also, just a little bit of history here around full self-driving. Tesla announced it a couple years ago. It was initially full self-driving beta, which, you know, liability-wise, probably a smart move to call it beta. And they've gone through several different versions and iterations, and we are now on full self-driving version 12. Version 12 is actually quite a bit different, too. Previously, with all other versions of full self-driving beta, they taught it how to drive with explicit sets of instructions. They told it road laws, things to obey, gave it situations to make sure it went through properly. And now full self-driving version 12 has actually switched completely, thrown all that out the window. It goes by a neural net AI, which it set in front of hours and hours of dash cam footage of humans driving. And that's how it taught it how to drive from the ground up, just with dash cam videos, which probably sounds a little bit unnerving, honestly, but because of that, a major side effect of how they've taught it has been it drives much more like a human. all the mannerisms, the inching forward, the way it looks at cars and lets cars in and out, and in some cases cuts them off, it's very human. I've been very impressed so far. So now we're in a neighborhood area. We're in Ansley Park, and you know, for a not very marked road, it's doing a pretty good job so far. And that island there is something that would trip a human. Like, that whole thing would have tripped me up, honestly, more than the way it handled that. I was very impressed there. So my main critique with full self-driving at this point has to do with the way it handles objects on the road. It does not swerve to avoid potholes, which is a major, major problem in the city of Atlanta. Atlanta has some of the worst quality roads you'll find anywhere. I mean, it's awful. The city puts these giant metal plates over the road too, which are very easy to hit. I actually had to take over earlier after it hit a pretty big one. So that's kind of my main reason that I take over from full self-driving a good bit still when it's on the road here in Atlanta. So now we're coming into Virginia Highland, a neighborhood on the east side of Atlanta across the interstate. And it's slowed down a bit. It's kind of aware of all the people around you right now. That's one thing I'm very impressed at with the cameras. It has a pretty far reach. You can see cars all over the place. In many cases, I've been able to see cars 2 lights ahead of me. And it's very aware of things like pedestrians, like that runner right there. It sees that on the screen. It sees another one walking their dog. There's another one right there. I'm really curious to see how it handles all of this crowd going on. Previous versions of FSD would probably kind of freak out right now. All right, so far so good. This is something that might trip someone up. If there were another car coming here, would it let a person go or not? And you see it just stopped there. It kind of hesitated before going through it. And this is going to be a very tight space. Am I going to have to take over? Don't hit the Jeep, don't hit the Jeep, don't hit the Jeep. Okay, that was very nerve-wracking. I did not take over, and it did a pretty good job. Okay. Okay, that was impressive. I almost took over right there, but I kind of let it have some leeway. I wanted to see what it would do. And it did the right thing. It slowed down to almost a crawl and just was super hyper careful of everything around it. One other thing you'll notice too, part of that fact that it's supervised, you'll see these notifications on your screen every once in a while that ask you to put your hand on the wheel, give it a little bit of force. It wants to make sure that you're still there, and on top of the fact that the autopilot interior camera is still watching you too. So, and I understand why they implemented all this too. It kind of has to do with a lot of the controversy that's been around Tesla's autonomous systems in the past. A couple years ago, I'm sure you all heard about the story of a guy who died in his Model S watching Harry Potter while it was on autopilot. And look, any death is tragic, but there's a reason that Darwin Awards do exist. Go Google it. That was interesting. So that car actually just flashed its lights at me. What was interesting about that situation is it saw the car in front of me flash its lights for me to go, and it went. So it recognizes certain interactions with humans that we would use to communicate on the road, like flashing lights, pretty impressively. And now that we're reaching our destination, it is parking us. It got us to our destination, but it illegally parked. So that's interesting. All right, so now that we've reached Greenwood area of Virginia Highland, I'm gonna give it instructions to take us to Victory Sandwich Bar, because I wanna see how it handles on John Lewis Freedom Parkway. It's getting a little close to that truck. Okay, I'm gonna have to take over there, yeah. So the depth perception is great in some spots. it knows that I am currently driving across the road lines. All right, I want to see how it handles this yield situation here, because we don't have a exclusive turn arrow. All right, I'm gonna go. Yes, you are, and you see the guy on the scooter. That's nice too. I want to override it until I get on John Lewis Freedom Parkway here. Well, that's going to be fun now because we're dealing with all these cars. Okay, I'm going to disengage it and get on John Lewis. I wanted to go this way. Okay, this is where I test drove a Rivian not long ago from the Atlanta showroom. It was an R1S. Okay, oh, immediately it starts getting over and it just gets on the gas. Like it knows it needs to get going, which, you know, it gets out of the way. All right, so we're crossing North Avenue here. Oh, we've got another left turn yield situation here, and this time across a divided highway. Please don't kill me. Please don't kill me. Okay. Good job. Also, full self-driving has a couple different modes to it, depending on the driving style you want. Which you can get to those by pressing the knob here to the right. You've got chill, average, and assertive, and you can also set it to take minimum lane changes too. Which, I mean, one thing that's nice it'll do is if a car in front of you is going very slow on your route, it'll get around it, which is a very human thing to do, obviously, too. So it'll pass the car too, but if you don't want it to do that quite as much, you can turn that off too. Obviously, because we're in Atlanta, I've had it on assertive mode the entire time I've been driving this. Which I kind of like assertive mode the best, honestly, too. It has a little less hesitation, but as you've seen by now, it still hesitates like when it needs to, and that's a good thing sometimes. Let's see how it handles this curve. Oh, it swung wide for the curb. Not bad. Here comes a bump. Okay. Oh. The fun thing about the nags is it's so easy to like disengage it by like pushing it too hard. That is a nice thing with full self-driving. There's a lot of misconceptions that you have no control when the car's driving you. That's not at all true. You can take over at any time, and you can also kind of nudge it. Like if you feel like it's going a little too slow, there have been many times where I've kind of given it a little bit of acceleration too. So now we're crossing John Lewis Freedom again, and that light just turned yellow, so we're about to get going here in a second. That was a very interesting scenario right there. So that car just merged over into my lane because he was in the wrong lane, and the car let him over. I mean, that was a very human thing to do too. So we're coming into Inman Park here. Inman Park is another one of those neighborhoods where the streets get kind of tight, especially with a lot of street parking. So let's see how it handles everything here. Shaded stop sign. The fact that the camera saw that, that's really good. Just kind of shows you that light doesn't necessarily blind it or throw it off too much, which is a good thing. See, in a situation like that truck back there, we were at Atlantic Station the other day, and it was down to one lane, and it actually let a car before me go, which, oh, we're getting tight on the clock. Oh, dude. Okay, what's it gonna do? Here, I'm gonna take over and let him over. Oh, it's not.
It was at this moment that he knew.
That is bizarre. So that road is marked as a one-way, but maps and navigation, and Google Maps does this too, it still takes people down it, so I don't know what the deal is with that road there. All right, and I think this is where I'm gonna go ahead and end it here. I am done being at the mercy of a computer and hitting every single bump on the road. Above all, though, my takeaway, very impressive. You need to pay attention, though. It's definitely not like all the way there, but I mean, as far as autonomous systems go, that was pretty impressive. Is this going down a one-way? Okay, no, it's not. Good. So, if you enjoyed this video and you like tech and EV content, and specifically more Tesla content, it's not going to see the cord in that road. Leave a like down below and let me know, and if you want to hear more from me, definitely consider hitting that big red subscribe button and bell notification icon next to it so you can always be in the know when I upload new videos. And as always, see you in the next one.